Hey guys, coming to you from Mew Lake. As you know, my name is Dennis from CANOEHOUND'S Adventures, and we come up here on the weekend. This is my buddy Ingo Hetzer. He's the president of KIHD Products. Many of you have heard me talk of the KIHD Products stove that I use all the time, and I just thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to sit down and maybe talk about the stove so I can learn a little more about his product and how he got to start with all this stuff, and give you guys a little more information. So Ingo,
yeah,
tell me a bit about yourself first.
Myself, well, actually, I by trade I'm actually a watchmaker, and grew up in Germany and came over in 1983 to Canada, and always been sort of a bushcrafter back in Germany when I was young, but really came into it when I moved to Canada, and been going to Algonquin Park, Tumalgamy area for the last 30 years, and yeah, that's how everything sort of started with the outdoors. And about 4 years ago we started KIHD Products. It's actually 4 guys I go canoeing with, and yeah, we had a lot of fun going canoeing, and one day we decided, well, we're gonna go to do a few longer portages, right? And you know how that goes, go light or don't go at all.
Yeah.
And anyway, the Coleman stove, it's a perfect stove and it's great, but I wasn't going to cut it because it's so heavy, right?
Yep.
So yeah, so we said, okay, well, we're going to take one of those little twig stick stove that we've seen some other people using, and you know, of course, you know, we used a few, and we thought, you know, why don't we build our own? Because we didn't like some things on here, and some all good stoves, but yeah, we just wanted to make a Canadian product, right? So we got together, and it's 4 guys. KIHD Products actually means KIHD. It's Keith, Ingo, Helga, and Denis. 4 guys. We've been going camping for the last 25 years.
All great guys, too. I could attest to that because I've been camping with them all. So
yeah, so yeah, so we sat down, designed the stove, tested and retested, and really only made the stove for us. We made 4. We hired a company to laser cut the stoves, and you know, tweaked a little bit, and we had 4 great stoves, and we went out camping, and then of course we run into all kinds of people. And they decided, where did you buy these stoves, and blah blah blah, they look good and so on, and so we started making more stoves and selling to people, and started the company.
yeah.
Now the thing about the stove is we were never going to be a company. We never intended to sell these stoves. We just 4 guys love camping, especially here in Algonquin Park, and longer portages, less stuff, right? Which is great, but then we decided, you know, why not share a great product with fellow Canadians, or anybody else in the world for that matter.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a bit about my story and why I like KIHD Products so much. At the time that I was looking for a twig stove, there's a couple of really popular ones out there on the market.
Yeah.
And of course I was doing my market research, and I found that one of the brands that I was looking at, and I won't mention any brands because I'm sure they're all good in their own way.
They're all good stoves,
you know?
There's no doubt about it. They all work.
But I found that the cost, because it was American funds, it was just going to cost me too much to get one of these things. And then when I did actually come across the one in particular, I found it to be so heavy and cumbersome. Although I'm sure it does a great job and everything, I just found it was really heavy. And my whole purpose of wanting a twig stove was, one, to cut back on carrying fuels for my MSR stove. Right? There's fuel laying all around you when you're doing this type of thing. And I figured that would help lighten my load, whether on a canoe or a solo canoe trip or a you know, a group trip. You know, you're cutting out 5-6 pounds out of the kitchen bag.
Yeah,
you know
and I mean? That's exactly why we designed it.
Yeah, and then I happened to run into these guys at the Toronto Sportsman Show. Was the first time I run into you, and that's where I actually made the purchase. I fiddled around with their stove, and it was lightweight, and I looked at it and I said, yeah, this can do what it can do. And I started out by buying one of your basics, which was the Basic Plus, actually.
The Basic Plus you bought, and you know, we chatted for a little while, and got you convinced to buy one.
Didn't have to convince me much.
No, I
have to
don't.
convince me
No,
much.
it was an easy sale. Let's put it that way. But yeah, we did get feedback from you right away, and we're happy that you liked it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't until I think the Outdoor Adventure Show the next year where we really hit it off,
Yes.
and where we started becoming friends, because I had used their stove and I used it for a full season.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you guys were going to be there, because I actually wanted to come up to you and say, hey man, I bought the stove off you last year.
Yeah.
Not expecting anything, obviously, but just to let you know that I love the stove.
Yeah.
It's a good stove. And then, like you say, we started chit-chatting, and we kind of struck up a friendship. You know, we've done a little bit of canoeing stuff.
Like-minded people, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the whole concept for the design itself, though, who come up with that? How'd you guys come up with that design?
Well, you know, we did buy some of the stoves from the competitors, right? And they all worked, but there's a few things we thought maybe we could do better.
Yeah.
You know, or let's put it that way, maybe cater more to what we needed, right? And yeah, I sat in my workshop there one day and took some cardboard and kind of sort of, you know, cut out some ideas, right? And then I actually went home and took a few sticks of wood, you know, the size of your pinky finger, right? And sort of laid them together and set them on fire and sort of measured how high the flame had to be, right? And so I measured it and I thought, oh, that's not very high, but certainly lower than some of the competitors, right? And you know, on the stove, the whole idea is you want the flame to hit the bottom of the pot.
Right.
There's your heat transfer, right? So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So that's why it's that high. And then I did another research to see, you know, what was better to have a smaller footprint with higher heat to heat up a pot, or is it better to maybe have a few degrees less and have a bigger surface to heat up? And research, you know, shows that it's better to heat more surface with a lower temperature than a smaller surface with a higher temperature. And so that's why it actually fits this coffee pot here. We designed it for this coffee pot, so it fits perfectly on that coffee pot. And
Hold that
our
up.
little coffee pot, yeah.
Standard coffee pot.
Cowboy coffee pot, whatever you call it. And so that's why it's the width, right? And the height is because of the sticks we burned. And then we thought, well, you know, some stoves have hinges and some of, you know, things to click together and all of that. And yeah, we go winter camping, so we thought, well, hinges in winter doesn't sound right. Perhaps works, right? And I'm sure it works, but we decided to go with the little tabs, right?
Yep.
And then I came up with the idea of a locking lever on the bottom, and made out of cardboard. And
that really is the trick of the whole stove. That's what holds it together. That's
holds
what
it
makes
together,
that stove
yeah.
a really solid unit. Yeah.
I guess it comes out of the, you know, tinkering
Yep.
era, right?
Well, I think the fact that you're a watchmaker, you have all this
I guess it
knowledge
helps
of,
a little bit, yeah. So, you know, come up with different designs and little mechanical sort of attachments and so on. Anyway, yeah, and then I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. I did have some metal kicking around in the shop, and you know, with a little jeweler saw, I cut this out on a day when I wasn't so busy in the workshop, and you know, assembled it all. I still have the stove, actually.
I was going to ask, do you still have the prototype?
I still have the
Yeah,
prototype.
yeah.
I tucked it away in one of, and you've been using one of those CD cases, right?
Yeah, compact disc
it
case to
fits
carry mine
perfectly in
around.
one of those. And the original one, I thought, I'm going to keep that. Maybe in another 100 years somebody will say, oh wow. So
Collector's item.
Yeah, so I cleaned it all up, and then I put it in one of those CD cases, and I tucked it away somewhere in the shelf, and that's where it lives for now. And yeah, cut it all out, and then they decided, you know, it's only for the four of us, but you know, maybe I should put a patent on it, because it does look really cool. Yeah. And so I inquired about the process, and then you know, I don't know if anybody knows how that works with these things when you put a patent on it, but I mean, it has a design patent, right? Stoves exist for many hundreds of years. You can put a patent on on the square box,
Right.
right? So, but the lever on the bottom and the door, that's a unique feature, right? And so I, contacted a patent lawyer, and they said, well, really you can do that, but you can't really show it to anybody, and so on and so forth, right? Because otherwise it becomes public property. And so anyway, we got this whole thing going, and once the registration is done and the government has the papers, then you can refine a little bit, I guess, under the same specs, and show it around a little bit. And then we got a patent on it, so it is of course patent in Canada, right? And went from there.
So now one thing that I really like about the stove, I was looking for a Twig stove.
Yeah.
But the stove, the kid stove is so much more than a Twig stove, because you could use multiple fuels in there. I'll give you an example of stuff that I've actually used in mine. I've used Esbit tablets. Trick to that, turn the stove upside down. You got a perfect height for your pot from the Nesbit tablet. Works out awesome. I've used my Trangia burner.
That's correct.
Inside of it there.
Yeah, works perfect.
I've used the other gel style fuel, like a sterno type of fuel.
Yeah.
I've used wood pellets, which if you're smoking something, you can use. They got a toaster attachment that you can put on, and you could actually cook a hamburger on there, and you could actually kind of smoke it at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Twigs, of course. Twigs, yeah. And then what else have I used? Charcoal briquettes.
Charcoal briquettes works very well.
Yeah.
It is designed for twigs in it. It's awesome for that. But in a pinch, it works on these. As of lately, we got a few fire bans there in the summer, right? And then twigs, of course, is a bad idea. And that's why it's perfect if you take your little Trangia container or your alcohol burner or your gel container, as long as they have a lid and you can close them. They're allowed in a as per government, they're allowed for there's a fire ban on, so it's got to have a shut-off valve or a lid to snuff the fire, right? So, and we actually used it last year in Algonquin Park. It was a fire ban, and
remember that, everybody? The fire bans last year.
Yeah, it was. We like our fire too. Though, yeah. So. But it does work, and that's why we designed it, so it's multi-purpose. Right?
Yeah. Now, I've also used it as a heat source at my lean-to shelter at my day camp, right? Because it was a pouring rain day, and it was really sloppy out there, and I cooked on it, and then I kept the thing going, and I had a nice little fire going on my log that I had there, and just sort of to keep the hands warm.
Yeah, it does radiate heat. It certainly works, right?
Yep.
It is a stove after all, right? And what we did is, on a few trips, and if you guys go to Algonquin, you know exactly, you always hit this day where it rains. And you're sitting under a tarp feeling sorry for yourself and getting, rained on or damp anyway, and you dive for a cup of coffee or some hot chocolate. And, what am I going to do?
Yep.
So we don't want to run out and look for sticks. I mean, there's always dry sticks, but you don't want to get all wet, right? So we always keep a little, these little clear sandwich Ziploc bags, right?
Yep.
And we put some pellets in there and a fire starter, just a cheap fire starter, and keep that in there. And those sandwich bags is a perfect size, and you just dump it in the kit stove, set it on fire, and it's perfect to make a pot of coffee like this.
Yep.
You don't have to run out. Yeah. So we always keep one of those in an extra pouch.
It's kind of fun too, because you're actually, not only are you're cooking with it, right? But if you get that rainy day, you're actually killing time. Yeah. You're doing something, you're maintaining your little fire, you're staying warmer, and you're cooking. Now, I know the stove, you have different options. You have 4 different options with the stove. Tell us about the different options you have.
Tell you about that. Cold rolled steel is where we started out, and that's our basic and basic plus. The difference between the basic plus basically is you have a door and an extra cross strap in the basic plus. So it's a basic plus, a door and a strap. And then and they do rust a little bit when they get damp. But I mean, it is a tool. You clean it up, you put some oil on it, and store it, right?
That's what I do.
It's a price point, right? We didn't want to spend too much money either, right? At first, and then and then we had some question about can you make them in stainless steel? How come they're not in stainless steel? And these ones are customers now. They're asking us, can you make this in stainless steel? And of course, We listen to customers. We listen, as a matter of fact, for any ideas. We're certainly open for that, right?
Right.
And yeah, so we just told the cutter, can you make them in 3/16 stainless steel? Sounds like the right thing to do, right? And so now we have a stainless steel. And then on one show, we had a customer, and he went up and down sideways on us why we don't have a titanium stove, because you know there's
They are
solo
nice.
solo canoes, I mean solo trippers, and they
Hikers,
they want to
backpackers.
go one shot over a long portage, right? And you know, they count every ounce, and we said, you know, this thing is light already. I mean, you know, it's not a big deal, right? You know, we just don't make it titanium. But then, of course, we do listen, right? And where am I gonna get titanium? And titanium, let me tell you, is very tough to get in Canada. There are some companies, but it is very inconsistent of how much stock they have. Sometimes they have the sheet, you know, and sometimes they don't. They have different sizes, different thicknesses. And we can't, the little tabs where they click together, they're a proper measurement. And if you take a material that's thicker, then they don't click together, right? Then you have issues. You do need a consistent material. And we actually, for that one, we had to order the titanium in Santiago, California. That's where the titanium comes. And we do have to import it, and it's a bugger. Because it's titanium, it's a military grade, Homeland Security ones, you know, papers filled out and not for military use, that kind of stuff, right? So it's a bit of a hassle, but it is a nice stove. It is super
I've got one. I've got two. I've got the basic plus, which is the cold rolled,
The one
and
you
I have a
bought first,
titanium
yeah.
as well. And yeah, it's really nice for the lightweight packability.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have always asked me, and you know, like people that know I use the stove, and they said, like, you know, cold rolled steel won't it warp? I don't know, because mine never has, and
No.
I've had some really good, like, roaring little fires in this stove, and it has never warped on me. And the rusting thing, I've never had that problem, because at the end of my trip when I get home, I always clean it off with a cloth, because you always get soot.
Yeah.
And you hit it with a bit of olive oil. Don't use any other grade oil than food grade oil, because you're cooking with this, right?
Yeah, and that works great. Now, cold rolled. Cold rolled actually is a preferred metal of stove makers. You know, hot tenting, right? So some of the famous hot tent stoves.
Yep.
Coming from Alaska, that's all cold rolled steel. And yeah, when you look at some of the videos from these guys that do the hot, I think you brought one at the last trip. I think that was cold rolled steel as well. They do rust a little bit. I mean, it's a stove, right? You steel wool and some oil on it, good to go. But it doesn't warp. It's an awesome steel, right? Stainless steel, if you get it really hot, it could warp. But we've never been able to get our stainless steel stove that hot. You basically have to end up using a torch. You know, and I mean, when you make stick fires in it, it does not get that hot. And the titanium, what we are using a special titanium. I won't say what kind of titanium it is, because
Trade secret.
I don't want to get into trouble. So anyway, but it stands up to heat, and there's no problem. There's a very initial, very slight warpage in the right direction, in a direction you don't really care about, right? And it does not interfere with any of the mechanics of the stove. And it's only one time, because what probably happens is the metal is a little under tension, right?
Yeah.
And when you heat it up, it loses tension. The tension goes out because of the molecular structure, right? And it sort of locks itself in, and after that, you won't bend. It won't do anything. It just stays the way it is. Yeah?
I never noticed with mine, to be honest with you. So
Yeah, no, it's we test them, right? So before we, of course, release any product, we test it.
The one thing that about these stoves is these guys actually, aside from having the units cut, they do all the finishing work on it. So they are 100% made in Canada. If you're looking to support a Canadian, not a mom and pop operation, but if you're looking to support a Canadian mom and pop operation where all the money's staying in Canada, right? This is the type of product that you'd want to buy.
Yeah, that we stress that out all the time. This is a stove that we Canadians, and I'm a Canadian for many years now, right? And my friends and business partners, all Canadians, right? And that's one thing about the stove. It is a great stove. We designed it, and we want to keep it in Canada. We want Canadians working on producing these stoves. It is a Canadian product. It's for us.
Right.
If somebody else wants to buy it somewhere else in the world, go ahead. But it will have always a Made in Canada sticker on it. Yeah, we stress that out. We don't want it any different. Can we have them made cheaper in other countries in the world, like China or any of the other places? Yeah, absolutely. Probably half the money. But then Canadians don't have a job.
That's right.
Right? Yep. And that's important to us. We, all four of us, we employed, and if all these jobs go outside of the country, then that's not good. So, we're a small company. We're growing. We're selling more and more stoves. God knows where it goes to, but we're having fun.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And that's the main thing, right? If you're having fun, that's all the good thing. So now, there's other products that KIHD Products also carries, but don't really want to get into that. You could just give them a little lowdown on them, other things that you carry.
We have. So because we do go and do the same as yours, and for the most, we do all the camping things. We bushcraft. We do all of that kind of stuff. And good quality products is essential. You don't want to sit somewhere in the back country. You're 3-4 days away from the car, and then your fire starter falls apart, or things break. You don't want that, right?
No.
So we of course have products that we brought in or researched, and we use it for some years, and then we said, this is an awesome product. I mean, we're rough guys, right? And if you haven't destroyed it, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Right? And then of course we put it in our line. So we have fire starters that for the size have a great spark.
Yep.
We have these little pocket bellows, those blow tubes.
Yeah. I just picked one of them up off you guys at the outdoor show.
So we sell those,
awesome.
And we have cutlery set that you fold together, very small. Now these ones are not made in Canada. I stress that out. It's only our stoves that made in Canada. The rest we bring in from wherever else in the world they produce them, and we sell them because they're good.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I know Keith does a lot of market research on these things, testing them out. And his brother.
Keith, he tests like crazy. My brother Helga, he's the H in the silent H. He's not so silent.
Okay.
So he goes up and down the internet all the time looking for interesting things, new things. And then we bring it in and we test it out, right? We do a little bit of product testing that way, right? We don't, on our channel or on our website, we don't do product testing because it's a company. KIHD Products is a company. We do our own thing. But in private, we do some testing, of course. And when we like the stuff, we do like it. Yeah,
and you test it in the field. That's if it's going to fail, it's going to fail when you're using it out canoeing, camping, backpacking, or whatever it is.
No.
So I know you have your stoves available in some stores across Ontario, but first off, what's your website address? Where can they purchase online?
Yeah, first of all, we have the website, kidproducts.com, and hooked up to that is our shopping site, right? So you can order the things right online, any product over $100, free shipping, and we ship anywhere. It's not a problem. That's one part. We do go to all the shows. We love to talk to people. Mm-hmm. So we go to the outdoor show in Toronto, Outdoor Adventure Show, right?
Yep.
Outdoor Adventure and Travel Show, the Sportsman Show. We go to Barrie to the Sportsman Show in Barrie. We do the symposiums in Waterloo, the Backcountry Symposium and the Ontario Winter Symposium.
Yep.
And some other smaller ones in between, and we love to talk to people.
Yep.
And we sell our products there, of course, and we have specials on all the time.
Yep.
We just love to share our product with like-minded people.
Sure.
Right?
Well, that's awesome.
And then of course you ask about retailers. Well,
retailers. Yeah.
There are retailers out there. First of all, Algonquin Outfitters, of course. we know these guys too, and you know, we sell them to them, and wholesale them, and they in return sell them. Frontenac Outfitters, Zach, he's got them, and Tomogamy Outfitters, Eric up at Tomogamy, they sell them. And then there's other stores in St. Catharines, auto-oriented, you know, Jamie and
Mike?
Yeah, Mike is one of the employees there. He just loves the stuff too, right? He's their outdoor specialist, I guess, their bushcraft specialist, and then Adventure Guides in Kitchener, great store, lots of good products, and Scout Tech in Mississauga. I don't want to forget anybody. White Skull Shop in Perry Sound, they have them, and Adventure Attic in Ancaster.
And you're working on trying to get more,
And
obviously.
we're always looking for, if there's retailers out there that are interested in the product, contact the office, right?
Yep.
And you find the address and phone numbers on kidproducts.com, and yeah, we'll set up, and we have very low minimum orders, of course. Yeah, we just want everybody
build
to
some
have
confidence in the product, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what I'll do for everybody is I'll put the Kid Products logo or website, sorry, in the description right down here below, so that you can actually go on there and check that out. And maybe I'll do a little negotiating with Ingo here, and maybe see if I couldn't whoop up some sort of Canoe Hound Adventures code. No pressure, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah,
But
let me talk to my business partners there,
Yep.
and our next little meeting that usually involves coffee
yeah.
and maybe some other beverages, and I'm sure we can do something, and yeah, always great to have you in and do things. Sure.
Yeah, and if you want to see how the kid stove actually works, I will actually I'll get a link up here in the coming across the top here. You can actually check out one of my videos where I kind of did a bit of a review on it. Yeah. The guys knew nothing about it. It was just something that I wanted to do, because if I like a product, I'm really going to tell people about it.
Yeah.
Just to let you know that it's something that I actually like. So can I say that I like it? Yes, Canoe Hound likes this product for sure. And it's not because these guys have become buddies, but it's like I used the product before we actually became buddies. We became buddies because we kind of hit it off. So
yeah, we hit it off, and of course you liked the product and showed up a few times, and yeah, one thing leads to another, right?
Yep. So check out that video, and check out their website. And if you're in the market for a great little twig stove, I will go on record to say this though. As with any twig stove, any on the market right now, there is a little learning curve to it.
Yeah.
The one thing you need to do is you have to learn the properties of it and how to properly build a fire in there and keep it fed so that you're going to get the proper flame that you need for your cooking.
If you're not staying with the stove and feeding it and looking after it, and you think you have lots of other ideas that you should be doing while you're cooking, it's not going to perform that well. You have to focus on it. It's a bit of a learning curve, but it's with every stick stove. It's a unique thing. It's a little different. A little bit more time consuming. Although a pot of water boils really fast.
It does.
But you do have to stick with it. You can't walk away, because your flame dies down, and you God knows where, setting up a tent or doing things, and then of course you got to start all over again, right? Yep. So. When you purchase one of the stoves, I mean, of course, it does come with instructions how to put it together, and I can put this thing together in just a few seconds. You just do it a couple of times, and it's just easy. And then use it at home a little bit. Find out. I mean, how it
by all
works.
means, don't use it for the first time when going out in the forest.
No,
use
you
it
don't
at home in
be
your backyard.
disappointed. And how come that doesn't work as good as my gas, my propane or white gas stove?
Yep.
It's a little different. I mean, the Coleman stoves, and that you turn them on and you put your coffee on and you walk away, and when you hear it's boiling over, it's done, right? It works a little with stick stoves, but it's fun though. It's fun, and it's lightweight.
I was just gonna say that. It's funny that you see in the background here, we actually got a Coleman stove back here. Rest assured that we actually did use the kid stove while we're out here. The reason, for that there is convenience right now, just cooking at the camp. It's cold.
It's cold out here.
Yeah. But when we're out on the hiking trail, obviously we're not going to bring that. We brought a stove with us and made ourselves a hot beverage out there and stuff. So, you know, it's convenient for that sake for sure.
Absolutely, and you know, there's a, you know, as I said, there's a reason why you use this, why you use a stick stove when you go backcountry. I mean, you certainly don't want to run out of fuel in the backcountry.
Exactly.
And then you have, you know, you have to build fires for your cooking all the time. You use an awful lot of firewood.
Yep.
And of course the little stove is so convenient and efficient.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, if you guys want to check it out, by all means, like I said, check out the video review I did of it. Check out the link to their website online. Check out maybe one of the stores that actually carries it if you want to see it in person, or check them out at one of the outdoor shows, because there are many.
Yeah, we're always happy to meet our fellow, you know, bushcrafters, canoeists, hikers, and you know, swap stories and
Yep.
see how things are in the forest, and what kind of stoves they use, and perhaps they like to buy one of ours.
Yeah, for sure. So anyways, Ingo, thanks very much, man.
Thank
You
you
know
very
what,
much,
we were
Dennis.
supposed to be at Canoecopia this weekend, but things kind of fell through there with the cancellation of the show. And Ingo and I decided to make the best of it and come on out here.
Always.
And we're at Mew Lake here, obviously in Algonquin Park, and it's a nice wintry day, last blast of winter.
Yeah.
Had a good time, good hikes today and stuff. We got the dog Molly over here sitting beside us, but yeah, so I'm going to stop rambling. Anyways, my name's Dennis. You're watching Canoe Hound Adventures, and remember, people, keep the adventures alive.